Seemingly at a time when the world economy can least afford it, the Saudis have launched an oil price war. Why?
Well, it's amazing, Becky, and it's looking pretty ugly as we speak because the coronavirus has eroded away at demand by some 4 million barrels in the first quarter in China alone. That's pretty radical and not something that can be repaired in the next 2 or 3 months, it looks like. In fact, the International Energy Agency was suggesting a contraction for the first time since 2009 in oil demand by about 1 million barrels a day, if not a little more. Then we had an oversupply already hitting the market before the virus, and now we have a clash of titans with the number one and number two oil producers and exporters, Saudi Arabia and Russia, disagreeing on how we remedy this situation. So what we had was that Russia was asked by OPEC and non-OPEC players to agree to this cut of 1.5 million barrels a day, which would take these cuts up to 3.6 million barrels a day. The Russian view is we've been cutting for more than 18 months right now as part of this OPEC Plus agreement. We're tired of it. When we cut, we see that U.S. production continues to rise. And in fact, it's at a record of over 13 million barrels here in the first quarter. Saudi Arabia, having seen what the Russians did, suggested, look, you're going to live to regret this day in the next 3 or 4 months, sources told me when that meeting broke on Friday night in Vienna while we were there on coverage. Not only did they decide to raise production against Saudi Arabia, a very audacious move to cut prices by up to $7 a barrel. That was a signal not to the United States, but a signal to Moscow and to Vladimir Putin. We've had this partnership for 3 years working together to stabilize the market. You don't want to play ball with us? We'll open the taps as the lowest cost producer in the world and now flood the market with low cost oil. And that's why we saw a 30% correction. It's worth noting, Becky, we were at $70 a barrel on January 6th. We're looking at 2 months later with the collapse of 50% from the start of the year, and 30% of that happening between Thursday of last week at the OPEC meeting and here in Monday trading. It is extraordinary by any measure.